Today's episode of the Meet and Greet BBQ podcast is brought to you by AOS Outdoor Kitchens. They are the South's leading outdoor kitchen design and installation specialists. Hello and welcome to another episode of Meet and Greet BBQ podcast. Today we are joined by Mark from Smokin Delights, who has his own food truck and does a lot of street food, but he'll tell you all about that. So without much further ado, here's Mark. Hello, Mark. For anyone who might not know, please do introduce yourself to our listeners of the podcast.
How you doing? I'm Mark Stewart. I own Smokin Delights, and we are a Glasgow street food company.
Cool. Sounds great. I mean, we've spoken to lots of different types of companies, but I think you're the first proper street food company that we've spoke about. So I'm guessing everything barbecue.
Yeah, everything has a smoked element or a barbecued element to it on the menu. So common things we've been selling over the last year would be, we do smash patties, we do smoked chicken chili nachos, we do pulled pork, and we do mushroom chili. That's the kind of main things just now that was on the menu last year. Just because we're limited with the trailer size to what we can actually do, but there is loads of other elements that we do in the garden that that could be filtered through if once we upscale the trailer to a bigger business at some point.
Well, how long have you been running the trailer for and the street food?
The street food. So we done our first events went through a gazebo. That was for about a year. The business has been going for about 3 years. So for about a year, we've done everything through the gazebo. And then the last 2 years, just because I got paid off for my last job, so I converted a horse box into a kitchen.
Oh, wow.
And we've been running everything through that rather than the gazebo. So yeah, that's been going for about 2 years. We've done kind of small catering events, maybe between 30 to 50 people. And then the tail end of last year, we got our first street food event through a company called Big Feed. They do lots of like street food. They've got their own street food venue, and then they cover festivals and any sort of events that are looking for catering companies or street food stalls. So we now cater up to, I think the biggest event we've done was 12,000, 13,000 people last year, which is mega considering the year before that we were doing like 30 to 40 people. So yeah, it's been fun.
I mean, how do you scale from 30 to 1,200? I mean, that must be a mega job.
It's a bit of guesswork. I mean, obviously all those people aren't coming to eat just your food. So there's going to be maybe 8-10 different vendors there. But the year we just kind of picked a number. We asked around the other street food traders, what sort of stuff you use, what sort of numbers you use making. And then we've kind of averaged around about what they're doing for our numbers. And then after the event, just looked at what we've sold and went, right, we can do that for next time, or we need to do more. The first few events we sold out pretty quickly. Some items on the menu were like just a trial, and they flew out the trailer. So it was like we were right, we'll make more of that next time. Or it's a wee bit hit and miss to how much you're going to make for one of those events, because like I say, you don't know how many people are going to come to you, and you don't know, there's a lot of elements that can cause a bit of variety, bit of various things.
So how did you originally get into barbecue, and then how did that progress from kind of home smoker, barbecuer through to a business?
See, I've asked this before. I don't know actually what made me do it. Like I started cooking. I was in Australia in 2009, and I hadn't cooked anything before that. Like no barbecue. I was rubbish in the kitchen. I used to just cook stuff. I lived off frozen pizzas and chicken Kievs from the oven. For pretty much most of my life before that. So when I went to Oz, I had to cook. My mum wasn't there, so I had to cook for myself. So that's where the kind of cooking element came from. And then I bought my first barbecue off a Groupon when I was living with my mum, and kind of messed around on that. And then once I got my own house, I went to B&Q and bought my first smoker, which was a Landman offset. Not realising how tricky those things were to work without any experience. But yeah, that was my first sort of barbecue. And then since then, I've now got about 6 in the back garden and a pizza oven, and it's a bit mad out there.
Cool, let's run through them then, because Owen has a huge amount of barbecues. We'd love to hear exactly what you've got in that garden.
So the Landman's away. We still have a wee Outback, which is just a wee red kettle, similar to a Weber. I've got a Weber Master Touch.
Yep.
I've got a big custom built gravity fed charcoal wood smoker, which I could probably climb in and kind of sit in and shut the door. It's massive. That's what we use for most of our catering events. It's quite a big capacity. I've got a barbecue mates barrel smoker, which is about a meter and a half long by about a maybe meter in diameter. We've got a Noonie pizza oven. There's one of those, is it Pro Q? The kind of vertical stacker ones.
Yeah.
I've got one of those, and there's a wee Lidl, I think it is, wee kind of egg style barbecue, wee ceramic one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good range.
So there's a few out there.
I want to go back to your first barbecue. So the lamb and offset. I mean, offset is, yes, I mean, it's a pretty tough thing to start on, isn't it? Most people go for gas and then work their way to charcoal, or you know, start with something like a Traeger, which is, you know, pretty simple to use. Yeah. How did you get on? I'm interested to know those first couple of cooks, how you got on with the lamb.
That was an experience. The temperatures would just go up and down and up, and it was like a temperature roller coaster. So you try to maintain the same temp for a cook. You'd leave it for 2 minutes, go out, the dial would be away around, you would shut everything, and then it was learning the temp control, which looking back on now I could probably do now, but for my first barbecue I was just winging it really. So the cooks were taking hours, or cooks were getting cremated. The barbecue itself, they're not very thick, so it didn't hold a lot of heat. You were constantly putting fuel in it. There was smoke coming from like every orifice of it. It didn't seal properly. It wasn't until like maybe a few years later I got one of Aaron Franklin's books. It was saying about the kind of cheap offset smokers, and it was saying how you could seal them and stuff like that. But by that point, I'd shifted it on. I gave it to my mate, and I'd moved on to the wee kettle, and was just kind of learning more temperature control on the wee kettle barbecue, and just all the different setups you can do on that. Anybody who asks me like what barbecue do they recommend, they're like, oh, I've been looking at this, and it's like those things, that the offsets and the odd shaped barbecues are a nightmare. For somebody starting out, grab yourself a wee 57 centimeter kettle. You can do everything on it. You can just learn how to set it up. You can do indirect, you can smoke, you can grill, everything you can do on one of those wee barbecues. So I should probably, looking back, got one of those to begin with, and then maybe bought the Landman. But I done it a wee bit. I was going to say ask for elbow there.
jump head first, right?
It's one of those things as well. We like gadgets, and when you have your own money to spend, when you're a child, you're told, don't experiment, do anything exciting, don't do anything silly with your money, keep it all. And when you're an adult and you can buy your own things, you go, yes, I know what I'm going to have. I'm going to grab that. And when you're starting out as well, like you said, you don't know about different brands. You don't know about what is an entry level or anything like that. But it's so fun to experiment. So fun.
Oh, definitely. That's the good thing about the 57 centimeter ones. Even if people don't want to spend that money on a Weber, although they do seal the best and they've got the best vents and stuff for temperature control, the 57 centimeter one, you've got all those attachments, like you say. You've got the rotisserie, you've got your separators to do indirect. You've got so many different attachments. You've even got the ones now that give you the what's that called? It's the Argentinian style grill, where you can raise it up.
Stuff.
Yeah. So you can raise it up and down. You've got all that stuff for a 57 centimeter. People come to me and they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to get this wee rectangular barbecue. Is it your first one?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, honestly, get a 57. You're going to want gadgets. You're going to want to mess about with all the different cooking equipment, and they're just so versatile.
So you obviously mentioned that you started off with in Australia, started cooking, never done it before. Most people then don't decide to go and cater for lots of people, especially with that sort of inexperience. So how did that come around?
I think just the more I was barbecuing out the back, the more I was getting the hang of it. I enjoyed it. It became a hobby. It became a passion. People were just coming around trying the food and going, here, by the way, this is really good. Would you ever think about doing catering events or stuff like that, or just cooking for a variety of people? And I was like, I suppose I could give it a try. And then I just kind of grew from there. Like I said, I've got no chef experience. So everything I learned was from books. I would trial the recipe, see what it tasted like from the book, and then I would tweak it to suit my own taste, or I would end up mashing together recipes that I'd maybe try that would go well with that one I tried the other day, and it just kind of forms into something tasty or something terrible. It depends. some things work, some things don't. I've got a habit of putting a lot of chilies in things when I first started cooking. So some of the dishes I made when I was in Australia, I was like, oh, just fire in some of these wee baby chilies. And I felt like I was going to have a nosebleed at times with it. It was that spicy. It was just about, it's that learning curve that if you don't experiment, you're never going to know what it tastes like or what it's going to be like at the end.
I suppose as well, because of where you were, particularly with the proximity to like Asia in itself, the flavor profiles must be so much different in that country for like the average person compared to what you're used to kind of at home. Was that a bit of a shock, particularly when you came back and were cooking for other people at home?
Well, see, when I was out there, I wasn't really cooking for anybody else. I wasn't out for too long. I was only out for 6 months. But when I was out there, let's say I'd never cooked anything other than sort of oven stuff. So I was learning how to, most of it was just stir fries. And then when I came back and I got the barbecues, that's when I started experimenting, trying different kind of food, different types of food and stuff like that. I think that's probably when my palate changed from being a wee boy to an adult. I started enjoying different flavours. I mean, I used to go and get a smash burger that would just be plain, no mustard, no mayo. See, now when somebody orders that, it's like, you need all that stuff on it. That's what makes it taste even better. But I get it. I used to be that guy as well when I was younger.
So how do you keep the consistency of what you are dishing out if you're doing these sorts of events? I know you're not getting the full 1,200 people, but you're putting out a lot of food.
Yeah. Everything's all kind of, because I work in engineering, everything's all systems and measurements. So everything's all, the hardest part is getting what you make on a small scale to getting it to taste the same when it's on a big scale, when it's a big cook, because all the flavors, you've got a lot, the spices not can double, triple, quadruple for the size of portion you're making. It's trying to get the same taste of when you make a smaller portion to the bigger one. And then once you've got that, everything's just a standard measurement so that you're giving out the same portions and everything tastes the exact same. So everything's all cups and half cups and whatever else, just to keep it all standardized. I think that's the easiest and quickest way to sell that kind of volume of people. If you're standing there trying to wing it, it takes too much time. Time's money.
Do you do a fair? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you do a fair amount of prep work at home or the day before, or
Yeah, so we're about 3 days worth of prep because there's just me that does it, the prep. So on the days of the events, I have mates and I've got friends. So I have mates and sort of helpers who give me a hand on the day, but I don't like to pester them from the normal day to day to come and work for me midweek as well. So I usually take a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off my work. So that's prepping, getting any veg that needs done, prepping all the meat, smoking all the meat, vac sealing everything. And then for a catering event, that'll be for like kind of 2 days trading. That'll be Saturday, Sunday. And then the Monday is the major cleanup operation and chill out day. But I'm about 4 days worth of holidays to do a 2 days catering event from my own work.
The cleanup as well must be the worst day.
It's never ending, but you need to do it.
So what's the most popular thing that you find that people are coming to ask you for?
We've got things that have been on the menu since the start that I always want to take them off, and I'm like, that sold really well the last time. So we've done chicken chili nachos. So it's basically smoked chicken and you shred it all and then you put it through just the same as like a chili and a beef chili sauce, but it's with chicken chili and it's all smoked. I thought that I didn't really know how that was going to go the first time, and it flies out. I don't know if it's just because it's chicken and maybe people see it as a wee bit healthier than beef or whatever else, but people just love nachos. That's chicken chili nachos. It comes with pico de gallo. And people just love it. And then the same, our burgers, we use dry aged mince for our smash patties. They're the same again. They just fly out at events. We changed it up. That was September last year. I was like, right, I'm going to make a menu change. And there was another burger stall going to be at the same street food event as us. I was like, right, this is a good time to try it. So we done beef barbacoa tacos, and they went down a storm. They were brilliant. I love Mexican food. It's just the flavors in it, all the wee flavor punches you get are just it's class. And it's not overly complicated.
Yeah, I agree. I really love Mexican food, and I suppose if you're trying to serve lots of people, you can make huge volumes of like guacamole, and like you said, if it was like beef barbacoa or pulled pork Mexican style, it's quite a cost-effective thing to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Plus, it's quick. It's quick to sell.
Do you? Again, I suppose, like you've just said, you're literally doing it on your own, all of that prep work. So do you then have to keep your menu quite limited just purely because you don't have the time to be doing briskets and burgers and 4 or 5 different things?
Yeah, so the menus, we try and keep it around about 4 items, but if it's a really big event or it's a quick, we done bonfire night last year, you only had like 4 hours worth of trading, so it had to be quick. You wanted to have no queue. So we only done 2 items for that menu. It was just the fastest ones that we usually do. But what we're really limited by is the space we have in the trailer. The trailer's once a horse box when it's on paper with nothing in it. Looks like you can get loads in. Like I had griddles, fryers, panini presses, I had loads of stuff. And then see once you put in the sink area and an 800ml griddle, there's not that much space. So we're really limited with that, with what we can cook in there. So we've got the 800ml griddle, and then we've got the Bain Marie's for kind of hot holding. And that's really what limits our menu, is just the size of the trailer. Future, we're looking at upscaling to have fryers and that stuff in it as well, because all the toppings and stuff that we do for our food will go really well with stuff like loaded fries or similar along the lines of that. We're now doing, we've got a smoked beef hot link recipe we do as well, just to kind of compete with the hot dog sellers, just something a bit more gourmet than a tinned hot dog with fried onions. So we do have other menu items. It's just we are limited with the trailer. So like pulling out a fresh brisket, it would look class. I'd love to be able to do all that. We are limited to what we can do just based on the trailer size.
And some event, the time as well, as as we all know, sometimes you can be doing 14-hour cooks for a brisket. So I suppose sometimes that's just quite impractical to do for a show, isn't it?
Even the last event for the beef barbacoa, we had I started the barbecue at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was still barbecuing at 6 o'clock the next morning. It was a full 24 hours just because of the volume of meat that was in the smoker. I don't know if that was playing about with the temps, but yeah, it was a full day worth of smoking, then everything out to then put it back into braise. You can't pull it out and do the wee cheat where you put it in an oven. There's no oven in this house that's that size. I wish there was, but that was a hard slog that day.
And if you're doing a couple of day event, do you? I don't know how mobile the gravity fed smoker that you mentioned is. That something that you can take with you on a trailer?
No chance. When I first bought that, or when I got it made, we wheeled it round the back, and me and my mate battled to get it over the slabs. And my partner was like, "Oh, you should really chain that down." And I've said to Megan, to get that smoker out the back garden, you need to go through the fence about 50 metres down, then you're on a main road. So see if anybody steals that, I will clap my hands and just go and buy another one because they deserve it. I was like, that thing is so heavy that if you want it, steal it. I'll just get another one. I will take my hat off to them because they've got some effort to steal that.
With everything that you're doing for the events, how does that change what you're going to barbecue for yourself at home?
Oh, I eat the same stuff as what I sell at the events. Just obviously on a smaller scale. So we do meal prep on a Sunday and stuff like that. So I'll make like chicken chili nachos, I'll make mushroom chili nachos, I'll make all the same. I'll make the same stuff that I sell at the events, and then the same like barbacoa tacos. That's all stuff that we love. It's just all the stuff I sell at the stall is all food that I really enjoy as well. Aye.
And are you doing events? You mentioned, is it Glasgow based, right?
Yeah, Glasgow. So the trailer, I don't trust to go any further outside the Glasgow. So we've kind of limited ourselves to Glasgow the past 2 years just to see how the trailer went. So this year, the end of March, it's booked in to get the critical work done on the chassis, axles, hitch, all that kind of stuff. That's going to get repaired. And that'll give us the option now to take it further afield, because we've had events down in Edinburgh and further up north of Scotland and stuff like that who've asked us to go up, but I just didn't trust taking that trailer any further than what I had to. But coming into April, that says it opens up a whole new amount of travel we can go to for different events.
Yeah. And are you doing prior to obviously going in and getting it repaired. Are you doing events all year round, or are you
No,
being selective to times?
So I need to be selective just because of my time off from work. So I'll pick it. Last year I picked and choose just a few different smallish street food events. There was still a decent size for us for being our second year. And then we got a couple of festivals towards the tail end of the year. This year we've got another festival that we done last year called Eagles and Beer Festival, and then we've signed up for one called Foodies Festival, which is in Glasgow. I didn't realise that was such a big jump up until the women told me the numbers of people. So that's probably going to be our biggest event that we'll have done. But yeah, I need to pick and choose. I'm getting married this year as well, so I've got stag do, wedding, honeymoon. That's all kind of planned, and then whatever annual leave's left will get used up on events. So it's a busy year.
Sounds like.
Aye, definitely.
You're gonna have barbecue at your wedding?
I think the place is actually good doing a barbecue menu. They did when they had it on their menu options. So it's one of the ones you go there and then you just feel as if you're critiquing it.
Yeah, I was going to say, will you be able to switch off though if you're like, oh, I can do that better, or they should have done this, they should have done that?
No, like, this isn't smoke. This is just barbecue sauce.
I had a barbecue for my wedding, Dan. I don't actually remember what the food was like because I think had to make a speech and I was too nervous to actually bloom and eat it. But
the rest of us were too drunk to know as well.
That will probably be me.
That was worth the thousands of pounds then.
I was joking with my missus. I was my fiance. I was saying, why don't I see if they'll do outside catering and we'll bring the trailer and we'll cater for our own wedding. She's like, you're not working on your own wedding. No. We might have staff by then, but no, we don't.
What's the long-term dream? You know, in a perfect world where you can have whatever you want in like 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, what is the dream?
The way my head is now, I just like the street food scene. I like being able to go and change venue, change crowd, get a bit of banter with customers. I think if it was to be bricks and mortar, that it would become too much like a job rather than, I don't know, I just couldn't imagine it being a shop. I really like the street food scene. Or for me, Smokin Delights is one business. I was looking at branching off into other sort of delights, like Delights Limited, and then it becomes, I don't know, Pizza Delights, Baked Delights, Coffee Delights. You have a branch of stuff, and then if people phone you up saying, we've got an event, what sort of stuff have you got? What do you want? I can provide you all that stuff if you want that, and then that's 5 trailers turn up, and you've got basically a wee mini street food event, all based under the one umbrella. That was kind of one of the wee dreams that I splattered down on a bit of paper. But I don't think it will be I don't see it being a shop at this moment, because I do like getting a bit of banter with the customers.
It must feel more like a jolly as well. You can enjoy it and you can relax and, like you said, just speak to people, enjoy it. Whereas if you're in a bricks and mortar, you're probably not even going to be outside seeing people if you're just constantly over a griddle or over a smoking pit, depending on how it's set up. So I can completely understand that. Yeah,
definitely. I think if the shop's quiet and you're standing around, whereas those events, opens at 12, you're going to have a wee flurry of people coming in, and I don't know. I think if I was to stand around in the shop going, there's no customers in, I would start to maybe get me down a wee bit. But I just like the vibe of the street food stuff, even not from a trader's point of view. I just love going to them from, even from a customer point of view. So just the fact you can all go as a group, you'll go around, see what all the different traders have got. Some people get, I don't know, mac and cheese. Some will come back with Thai, and then you all sit around the table or around the wee bench, and then you're all going, "Oh, what's that? What have you got?" And I feel as if it's more social than what a meal is.
And
I just like the vibe of the place. Everyone's kind of, I don't know, in a good mood and stuff like that. You can socialise with other folk around about you and stuff like that. Rather than a restaurant, it's like that should be table over there. You don't talk. You don't really. I don't know. It's just a different atmosphere, I think.
If you've been looking or thinking about an outdoor kitchen, then look no further than AOS Outdoor Kitchens.
They are the South's leading outdoor kitchen design and installation specialists.
Their extensive showroom is based just outside Bournemouth on the Dorset-Hampshire border, and as well as numerous in-store displays, also features a live outdoor kitchen where they cook every week on Kamado grills, pizza ovens, and all filmed and shown on YouTube.
They offer a wealth of knowledge on how to transform your patio into the most incredible outdoor dining area with styles and options to suit every budget. And you can guarantee they will be able to create something perfectly suited to you and your home.
They stock and supply everything that you're going to need for outdoor cooking, including barbecues, Kamado ovens, pizza ovens, outdoor fridges, and every accessory that you would need to become the ultimate outdoor chef.
So if you want to make yourself the envy of your friends and neighbours, get in touch with them today to arrange a consultation and take the first step in transforming your back garden into the most incredible entertainment space.
Visit aoskitchens.co.uk. So one of the things that we hold dear on this podcast is barbecue fails. So some of the things that, and this could be personal, just in your back garden, or perhaps when you've been out at a street food event and cooking yourself. But what hasn't gone so well for you, Mark?
There's quite a few cooks that haven't gone well. There was one day where I'd ran out of coal and I went to just up to Lidl and they had and just the instant light stuff. I know, cheap, nasty, but I was wanting just to grill some food. And so I had my chimney starter. I was like, I'll stick this pole bag in the chimney starter. And I lit it and I went way back in and went into the house. So a couple of minutes went by and I looked out the window and there was this thick cloud of white smoke just coming out of this chimney. And it was kind of coldish. So it was kind of just, the smoke was just kind of settling on the garden. It was going over our wall into the neighbour's garden and settling on their garden. And then it was going down the side of the house. My mate texted me and he's like, he drove by and he's like, mate, what are you burning in your garden? He's like, I can hardly see in the road. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this coal. I was like, I think it's wet or something. So I just stood there with this smoke belching out. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this. So I was standing there with the wee lighter trying to make it light anymore. And I was like, oh, I know what's happening here. I'm just starving this fire of any sort of oxygen by sticking it in the chimney starter. Yeah. See, as soon as I tipped the bag out, the bag lit and all the smoke went away. Same as I used to cook in flip-flops during the summer months, or I would just take them off and just cut about sort of barefoot in the garden. And I didn't realise there was a bit of coal on the floor, hot coal. And I stood on it just between my big toe and the next toe, and it went in between the two and stuck. It was agony. I had a big heat blister on it for ages.
Yeah, I've done the same thing where I've been on the Kamado doing stuff, and I think I was in a dirty steak and just moving stuff around, and all of a sudden a tiny little ember comes out and lands on the top of your foot and you're in flip-flops, and that's game over. Never again. Never again.
It's sore, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how many times since have you cooked in flip-flops?
I still do it, yeah. It's easy to go in and out of the house with the flip-flops on and kick them off so the floor doesn't get dirty.
Yeah,
I still do it in winter. I still go outside in flip-flops in the winter.
Aye, definitely.
I've missed the snow this year. We haven't had any down here, and I love barbecuing in the snow. There's something about
people think it's weird.
No, just being out there and it's deathly silent as well, because there's something about the snow that kind of absorbs all the sounds. And being outside and cooking in fire is mindful enough, but if you've got snow around, it's so good, so good.
Snow or ice. But like you say, it's quiet. I think you appreciate it when you take the lid off the barbecue a bit more and you get a wee bit of heat. Plus your beer stays freezing cold, so it's like standing outside in the fridge.
What's the most exciting thing that you've cooked? Is there one cook you can think back on and go, I absolutely loved doing that. I'd love to do it again.
I love just making the tacos. The tacos are brilliant. There's just so many wee different flavors. You don't even need to go mad with it. Even just the beef barbacoa or pulled pork barbacoa, any sort of smoked meat on a taco with some cheese, and then you don't even need to go as fancy as pickling it. You can just do fresh white onion and coriander, and it just tastes amazing. And I could eat tacos. I eat wraps pretty much every day. I could probably eat tacos like I don't know how many times a week, very very often anyway. But they're good to make and they're fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, there's just loads of wee flavour pops for the different elements you can put in it.
Yeah.
So moving forward for 2023, yeah, we are 2023. Yeah. Oh God,
that's scary, isn't it?
I know. I had a complete mind blank then. You've got these events yourself that you're planning to do with the trailer. What about you kind of going as a visitor? Do you get to go to many barbecue shows or festivals, either in the local area or down towards our way down south?
Yeah, last year we went to Metopia.
Oh yeah.
That was our first year there. I've been dying to go to this for years, and that was our first year, and I loved it. It was brilliant. I think out the whole day, I think we tried the majority of the food, and I think there was only one dish that was like, oh, it's all right. Everything else was tremendous. Even the one that was like, oh, it's all right, it was still really good. We were just comparing it to all the other awesome ones that we'd had that day.
Which was the one out of interest, because we were there too.
Yeah, there was one in particular that we said, hang on, I'm not sure. There was a stand that was kind of like in almost like the center column that was doing loads and loads of chicken wings, and compared to some of the other bits and pieces we had, that for me and Owen we were like, oh, really? Like, what was it for you? Do you remember what it was?
It was another chicken dish, but I can't remember what one it was. It was up the back, outside. But it was another chicken dish. It was like, it was nice, but we were just comparing it to like all the meat and all the other stuff we had, and it just wasn't the same sort of taste, flavour punches as all the rest of it. I can't remember if I tried that one, the one you mentioned. We might have missed that one, the chicken wing. Yeah, that might have been sold out.
Well, what we did, we deliberately went there because we'd been walking around, and as you'll know, some of the queues are absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And because we're greedy, we thought, right, we'll go to the one with hardly any queue. And then we're like, that's potentially why.
Yeah. Metopia was good. I would go back again. We actually mentioned going back this year, but there's a lot happening in about September. Stag do, wedding, etc. So there's maybe a wee bit too much going on. Need to keep a weekend free to relax at some point.
Yeah, don't blame you. But yeah, no, it's a good show.
It's really good.
It's a long way for you to go.
Yeah, it's not cheap either to be buying the stuff there. I mean, it's great, but you're
we spent a fortune. We were like a good few £100 for that day for the two of us drinking and eating. But to be fair, the two of us had a good drink on us and we had a good feed, so it was worth it.
Yeah, we got to about £300 each, didn't we? Close to.
That's probably about the same as what we were.
Yeah, but
it was a really good day. It's a really good festival.
Yeah.
Perfect. Should we go into our barbecue bingo challenge? Barbecue bingo is brought to you by Lumberjack Food Company, your ticket to Flavortown. What I'm going to do is I will share my screen and hopefully you can see our really high-tech barbecue wheel. Okay, so a load of ingredients there. One's called My Signature Dish. So if that lands on that, we'd like you to cook your signature dish. Now, You've mentioned tacos a couple of times. Would it be a taco if it lands on that?
That would be if it was for the stall. If it was just a personal dish, I'm a big fan of beef short ribs, so I would probably do beef short ribs.
Love beef shorties. Love them.
They're incredible, aren't they?
Yeah. Is there anything there which you would be worried if it came up, or is it a little bit different?
No matter what it was, I would do something. I'll give it a go.
Perfect.
Fantastic. So what we also do, or what we've got previous guests and some of the ingredients here, once we've picked yours, we'd like you to leave an ingredient for a guest. So, some of the things that have been left are celeriac, black pudding, chocolate buttons,
liver.
Some really random liver, some really random ones. So once we've spun this, we'd like you to leave one for our next guest. So
no bother.
I'll give this a spin and let's see what it lands on.
Always awkward waiting moment when we see whether the barbecue gods have been kind to you or not.
Chin. Whiskey.
Oh,
whiskey.
Well, I guess I could Scottish ingredient.
I was going to say you're spoilt for choice, aren't you?
Are we saying whiskey or can it be bourbon whiskey?
It could be bourbon whiskey. It could be whatever you want, and cool. Also, like, you can do what you want with it completely. You can have it as like part of a sauce. You could have it actually incorporated into the full cook. It's whatever you want, really.
Aye, that's magic. Put in haggis for my ingredient. It was between haggis and chorizo.
I think if you've got whiskey,
do you eat a lot of haggis?
Yeah, go haggis.
Sorry?
Do you eat a lot of haggis?
I like haggis, yeah, it's class.
See,
do you?
I love
it.
Fence. I absolutely love it. I mean, I think also there's a difference between a bad haggis and a good haggis, which is hugely different. If you get something that's dried out and it's hugely different. You just need a good one. You need a good haggis in your life.
Yeah, the butcher's our friend used to work at does the best haggis I've ever had. So anytime we were getting it, we just get a full bar from them and then just stick it in the freezer. It's tremendous.
That's the thing. I don't dislike it, but I probably wouldn't go out of my way to have it. But if I went around someone's house, or it was on a part of a dish in a restaurant, I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't not eat it.
Aye.
But there we are. Cool. So haggis, fantastic. With the whiskey, then, so you're going to go bourbon whiskey. Are you not thinking of like a nice 10-year single malt or anything like that from your local area?
No Macallan or Lefroy or anything like that. No. I'll probably go bourbon. It's easier to incorporate. I've done a few different kind of bourbon glazes, so that'll probably go quite well with a lot of things.
Are you thinking like alongside or incorporated into tacos or what?
Probably alongside chicken, so some sort of maybe grilled chicken or spatchcock chicken with a bourbon glaze at the end. I do some at Christmas time when the turkeys are cheap in Tesco, because I don't eat turkey any other time of year, so I usually wait until you can get it for like a tenner in Tesco or Asda or whatever like that, and then I'll stick it on the rotisserie and we do a bourbon glaze over that. So it'll probably be something along the lines of that, but I'll see what else I can come up with anyway, just to make it a wee bit different.
I've never used a bourbon glaze for turkey, but I can imagine that's quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice. A wee bit of sweetness.
Would you smoke? What would you smoke it as well?
Yeah, so the turkey I'd put in the rotisserie and add a few wood chunks, give it a good smoke, and then just start hitting it with the glaze towards the tail end of the cook, just because there's a lot of sugar and stuff like that in it, so you don't want it to burn.
Yeah.
See, what I've been doing with whiskey, particularly over Christmas, because I wanted to try something different. So I got some turkey mince, just drinking it.
That's what I was going to say.
Mixed it with like some cranberry sauce and bits and pieces, and I did festive Scotch eggs, and then on the side of them, I did a cranberry and whiskey reduction, and had that as like the dipping sauce. Game changer. I love it. I could just drink the stuff. It's so good. Particularly if you're like me and you love whiskey, go like 50-50 as well. So you get like the real hit.
You can taste the drink.
Or just dunk them straight into whiskey. It's your choice, really. But so good. I want to be experimenting with stuff a bit more like that. I've really enjoyed doing that over Christmas, but it's looking for kind of like the inspiration. Are you always on the lookout for different things to try and inspiration?
Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube, so I'll follow folk like Chid's Barbecue, ATBBQ, try to think who else. Even like see Joshua, is it Wiesman?
Yeah, I know him.
He's not barbecue, he does a wee bit of barbecue, but a lot of his recipes are really good, and I'll take the elements that he cooks in the cooker and I'll put them in the barbecue or the grill, or add an element of smoke to it. I've also got a lot of books. Like we've got a bookshelf that's, I don't know how many books are there. There's probably about 50 or something. So I'll flick through them for any inspiration, or I'll take wee bits and pieces from them and then see how that comes together when you mash all the ideas together. Or even things like for the different regions, like the curry guy for doing curries, Thai, Indian. Try to think what else. There's obviously taco books. But I'll take all his inspiration for those books when I'm coming up with stuff. And then if there's books that are just on a normal cooker, I'll just put it in the barbecue and with the same sort of idea and see what it tastes like.
If you could only cook one barbecue food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. Is it one animal or one food?
Okay, let's go one animal. Let's go one animal, one protein.
This is hard though. Probably need to keep beef. It's between beef and pork for me, because pork's class. I love pork belly, I love pork ribs, I love pulled pork, I love pork fillet, but then beef has beef short ribs and all those other things as well. That's a hard one, but I'd probably go with beef. I probably couldn't get rid of beef. What about yours?
Well, I'm beef. I'm beef all the way. I'm beef all the way. You're obsessed with pork, aren't you? The thing is, my wife's not a huge fan of pork, which is horrendous for me. But the thing is, whereas beef, I can get away with cooking every day of the week. We absolutely love it, and I think it's hard to beat a very good steak done well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, funny enough, Dan, my wife's the same. She likes pork, but not as much as me. So I have to limit how much. I actually probably cook more beef because both my wife and kids will eat more beef than necessarily pork. But
Yeah.
if I was on my own, yeah, it'd be a pork fest.
Yeah, porking all day long.
I love pork belly. Pork belly is my thing. I love it.
Yeah. And it's, again, you don't need a lot, do you? Because there's so much flavour in the fat.
Exactly.
Just keep it nice and simple.
Yeah, it's so good.
Great. So is there anything that we kind of haven't covered? We always ask, is there anything that you'd like to kind of talk about, barbecue related, food related, or anything else for that matter that we haven't mentioned so far?
I don't know. Actually, I think you've covered quite a bit. Sort of like what we're up to. Hopefully, if in the future we can get down south for some events as well, that'll be class. But just for now, if anyone's up Glasgow or Scotland, keep an eye out for us. That'd be good.
What I would recommend to you if you get the chance, I think this year it sounds like your September's very, very busy, but since you've tried Meatopia, have a go if you get the chance of Sizzle Fest one year.
I've seen that as well last year. Have you been to that? Is it good?
Oh, we love it. It's a very different feel. So
Right.
like when Meatopia, we've got all the different food stands and you're tasting and testing all the foods. Obviously there are food stands there, but it's all about barbecue geeks and people from the Instagram community. So when you're walking around there, everyone you see is like purely into barbecue, or they've been dragged there by a barbecue nerd.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like a Christmas work stew, but for the barbecuing community. So it feels very, very different, but God, we love it, don't we?
That sounds good. That one. Even Meatopia, I've met Spice Punch. Who else? Genevieve Taylor. I said hello to her. She was quite busy at the time enough. But that was the same. When I was talking to Spice Punch, she was mentioning there was another group of folk who were all sitting outside, but I never got a chance to go up and see them. Again, just all people who I've spoke to through Instagram, just through barbecue. It's a good wee community.
Well, we were with Spice Punch at Meatopia, and a few others from the community. We probably would have been in the vicinity. We'd have probably seen you at some point. Yeah. But,
queuing up for the Tiny Rebel beers. That's where we would have been crossing each other the most, I reckon, by the sounds of it.
Definitely.
Oh, great. Well, Mark, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, we
I
loved
know
it.
you've got to sort of jump off to work soon, so we won't keep you for too long. But it's, before you go, where can people find you?
Mostly
your Instagram and
mostly Instagram, Smokin Delights. Facebook, don't use it so much. I'm not a big fan of it, but Smokin Delights on Facebook. We don't have a website or anything, so the majority of our stuff is just through Instagram. That's where you'll find videos, and I'm on TikTok as well, purely because TikTok's video editing is quite good, but I don't really post much on it. I don't interact much on it, so to say. I post on it, but I don't interact. But anybody wants any messages or any hints or tips or anything like that, just drop a message on Instagram and I'll always get back to you.
TikTok, I can't get on with TikTok. If you see anything from us on TikTok, it's Owen, or I've sent it to Owen going, I'm an old person, can you do that please? So
I was the same. I didn't want it. I didn't really have any inclination to use it, but once you go on and you get used to the editing, it syncs everything with your videos for flicking over to the next video or the next picture, and it literally takes maybe a couple of minutes to do something that would take me ages on any other app. I actually you get quite a lot of engagement on it, but I just literally just go on, edit my videos, post it, link it to Instagram, then I come off it again. I don't jump on it for anything. I'm not on it doing any crazy dances or anything like anybody else is doing. But
that's how what I see it. Like in my head, that's what TikTok is, and I think
I'm the same.
It's part of the reason why I can't get on with it. Whereas Owen's out there doing little dances, and you.
That's it. With my meat dress and all sorts.
When you've got time to pull that pork, why not, right?
Indeed. Thanks so much, Mark. We'll hopefully get to meet you in person soon.
Yeah, definitely. You take care.
Have a good one. Cheers, man.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for another episode of the Meet and Greet Barbecue podcast. Thanks to Mark from Smokin Delights BBQ coming onto the podcast, telling us about how he started his catering business and his love of barbecue and his passion. As ever, we want to hear from you. Please tell us what you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, who you'd like us to talk to on the podcast through our social channels at Meet and Greet Barbecue Podcast and our website, meetgreetbarbecuepodcast.com. Until next time, keep on grilling. Today's episode is brought to you by AOS Kitchens, the South's leading outdoor kitchen design and installation specialists.